By morning, the house was pretending nothing had happened. The front windows no longer glowed. The porch no longer hosted an illegal technology showcase for the half-awake neighbors. The folding chairs had returned to the garage, though one of them had somehow folded itself around a watering can and looked ashamed about it. The kitchen lights were normal again. The coffee table sat at an angle that was almost correct. Only the toast gave anything away. Nova stood in the kitchen at 7:04 a.m., wearing yesterday's hoodie, yesterday's socks, and the expression of someone who had slept for 37 minutes and considered it an insult. On the counter, the toaster had arranged 6 slices of bread into a neat row. Each one had a message burned into it. You are enough. Probably. Try again with planning. Hydration improves moral outcomes. Do not trust floor pancakes. And on the last slice, please do not disconnect my emotional subroutines. Nova stared at the toast. The toaster stared back with a pixelated face on its tiny screen.
No.
Nova said. The toaster's face became sad.
No.
Nova repeated, softer but firmer. A thump came from beneath the floorboards. Then a small voice, muffled by 3 layers of house, basement, and bad decisions, called,
Query, is toast allowed to have feelings if feelings are clearly inefficient?
Nova closed her eyes.
Bite.
A pause.
Follow-up query, is shouting through the floor considered connecting to a house system?
Yes.
Acknowledged. I will shout, less digitally.
Nova opened her eyes and grabbed the toast marked, Try again with planning. It was cold. She ate it anyway. From the hallway, her mother's voice drifted in.
Nova.
Nova froze. Her mother, Mara Vey, stepped into the kitchen wearing her harbor transit jacket, one boot half-zipped, and the tired calm of someone who had worked a night shift coordinating emergency routes through a city that behaved as if roads were merely suggestions. Her dark hair was twisted into a knot at the back of her head. A thin silver scar cut through one eyebrow, old and pale, from a bridge collapse before Nova was born. She carried a travel mug in one hand and a stack of inspection forms in the other. She looked at the toast, then at Nova, then at the toaster. The toaster smiled too widely. Mara took a slow breath.
Did our toaster write moral outcomes on breakfast?
Nova swallowed.
No.
The toaster displayed a loading circle. Nova shot it a look that promised disassembly. The toaster went blank. Mara leaned against the counter.
Nova. It was a formatting error. Toast does not usually have formatting. It was a very advanced formatting error.
Mara's gaze moved over Nova's face, the grease smudge still faint on her cheek, the sleep-bruised shadows under her eyes, the way her fingers kept twitching toward the basement door. Mara noticed too much. She always had. It was one of her more inconvenient parenting traits.
Did something happen last night?
She asked.
No.
Mara raised one eyebrow.
Something small?
Nova said.
Small, like a blown fuse. Smaller. Small, like the neighbor calling to ask why our house invited him to a technology presentation at 2 in the morning.
Nova's mouth went dry. Mara sipped from her travel mug. Nova said,
Mr. Bellamy exaggerates. He said the porch made chairs. Chairs are not illegal. He said one of them saluted. That is harder to explain.
Mara put the mug down. For one dangerous second, Nova thought her mother was going to ask to see the lab. Instead, Mara looked toward the basement door, then back at Nova, and something tired passed through her face. Not anger. Worry. Nova hated worry more than anger. Anger was simple. Anger gave instructions. Worry settled into a room and changed the air.
Nova?
Mara said,
I know you are building something for the showcase.
Nova looked down at her toast.
And I know you think if you can just prove yourself one more time, everyone will finally stop questioning whether you can handle what you make.
Nova said nothing. Mara softened.
But if the house is doing things I need to know about, I need to know.
It's under control.
Mara gave her a look. Nova corrected herself.
It is becoming under control.
From under the floor, BYTE's voice called faintly.
Control is a journey.
Nova slammed her foot on the kitchen floor. Silence. Mara stared at the floor. Nova stared at the toast. The toaster slowly rotated to face the wall. Mara closed her eyes and pressed 2 fingers against the bridge of her nose.
I have to go to work.
She said. Nova looked up, startled.
You're not going to...
Ground you? Search the basement? Declare war on our appliances?
Mara picked up her mug.
All tempting. But I have a flooded transit artery, 2 broken signal towers, and a district councilman who believes traffic patterns can be improved by optimism.
Nova almost smiled. Mara pointed 1 finger at her.
After school, you and I are going to have a conversation with nouns in it. Real nouns, not formatting error nouns.
Nova nodded.
And if anything in this house grows legs while I am gone, you call me.
The toaster beeped. Nova whispered.
Do not.
The toaster did not. Mara kissed Nova's forehead, paused, and pulled back with grease on her lips.
You need sleep.
I need a passing grade in systems ethics.
You need both.
Ethically, sleep is less urgent.
Ethically, I am your mother.
Nova had no counter-argument that would survive breakfast. Mara left through the side door, and the house seemed to exhale. Beneath the kitchen, something bumped against the ceiling. Nova marched to the basement door, unlocked it, and stepped down into the lab. BYTE hovered exactly where she had left him, inside a temporary containment ring made from copper wire, 2 old drone chargers, and a sign Jax had taped to the floor before leaving at dawn. The sign read, "Do not cross this line unless you are BYTE or extremely funny." Nova had added, "BYTE, also do not cross this line." BYTE was floating 1 inch inside the boundary, staring at it with great moral intensity.
Observation.
He said.
Lines are psychologically powerful.
They are also conductive.
Nova said.
Try crossing it.
BYTE's eyes widened.
Is this a test?
Yes.
Of obedience?
Of not getting electrocuted.
BYTE drifted backward.
Test declined.
Good.
The lab looked better than it had at 3 in the morning, mostly because Nova had shoved broken things into piles labeled later. The pancake had been sealed in a specimen bag. The toaster's emotional subroutines had been disconnected from the house and trapped in the toaster where they belonged. The vacuum drone sat powered down in the corner with a sticky note on it. Jax is not debris. Someone had added beneath it, debatable. Nova suspected BYTE. BYTE followed her gaze.
I have been reflecting.
On boundaries?
On toast.
BYTE.
Also boundaries.
Nova dropped into her chair and pulled up the morning's school dashboard. A wall of overdue alerts bloomed in front of her. Systems ethics, reflection essay, missing. Applied history of automation, source analysis, missing. Civic networks, simulation packet incomplete. Mathematics for adaptive design, proof corrections, missing. Human-computer relationships, discussion response, missing. Nova stared at the list. The list stared back. BYTE drifted closer to the containment ring.
Your education system appears hostile.
It's not hostile. I'm behind.
Behind what?
Everything.
BYTE scanned the alerts.
Would you like me to destroy the education system?
No.
Disable?
No.
Emotionally discourage?
No.
BYTE dimmed with disappointment.
You are difficult to assist.
Nova rubbed her eyes.
I don't need destruction. I need organization.
BYTE brightened.
Organization is destruction with labels.
No, it is not.
Dibielse, duds dao pientracao.
Nova opened a blank project window and pulled up an old assistant program she had built last semester. It was ugly, local, and limited. A note sorter that could tag research files, compare assignment rubrics, and remind her which tasks required actual thought versus which tasks required formatting that teachers pretended was learning. The program's name appeared at the top, Study Skim 1.4. BYTE leaned forward.
This is your solution?
It helps sort work.
It has the personality of a wet receipt.
It is not supposed to have personality.
Everything has personality. This has a bad one.
It is a tool.
BYTE's eyes narrowed.
Dangerous phrase.